It's no surprise that the Zionist uh, Nazi Israeli defense minister is against the French president recognizing a Palestinian statehood because he's been consistently speaking out how he wants to genocide Palestine and take all the land and create settlements. Uh, it's wild how the Israeli government and various officials think they get to dictate what group of people gets to have a state and what nation gets to recognize said state. These people are no different than Nazis, and they need to be punished for their genocide against Palestinians, just like how the Nazis were punished for their genocide.
A crusade against the Jewish state. The accusation leveled at Emmanuel Macron from the Israeli foreign minister after the French president announced his intention to recognize a Palestinian state out of moral duty and not political requirement. A message which drew a strong reaction from Israel's defense minister.
A clear message to Macron and his friends. They will recognize the Palestinian state on paper, and we will build the Jewish-Israeli state on the ground.
Yeah, he's admitting that he supports genocide against the Palestinians. He wants to either have them all murdered or displaced so that the Israeli government can take that land. How is this any different than like a Nazi German or a Nazi being like, yeah, we want to kill or displace all Jewish people and take over the land of Israel? If people were to say that, uh, there would be calls about how, Nazis are looking to genocide Jewish people. But because it's the Israeli government doing it, because it's Zionists who are protected by the United States, when they call for genocide, it's nothing wrong.
On the humanitarian front, the international community is mounting pressure on Israeli authorities to allow more aid into the enclave as the 2.5-month blockade continues. Many nations, including France, say the aid that's trickled in so far is still a far cry from the amount needed to relieve a population in the grips of famine. Several European countries are now threatening Israel with sanctions and a re-examination of the EU-Israel Association Agreement.
What needs to happen is that these leaders that claim to be on the side of Palestinians need to send in their military so that they can prevent the Israeli government from continuing their genocide, just like how the same leaders are sending troops to Ukraine to fight against Russia.
If there is no response that answers proportionately to the humanitarian situation in the coming hours and days, we will obviously have to take a tougher collective stance. That is, to put an end to the current processes that have no regard for human rights and apply sanctions.
Sanctions would definitely help. If more nations stopped giving the Israeli government money or were trading with Israel, the Israeli government would easily collapse because the Israeli government does not bring in enough taxes and funds to actually sustain itself, which is why it's wholly dependent upon the United States and other nations to give it weapons and money. And you also got the fact that there are tons and tons of people leaving Israel and pulling out investments from Israel over their genocide of Palestinians. People are tired of watching Nazi Zionists killing people.
Meanwhile, the United States has announced a plan for a 60-day ceasefire, a proposal that Israel has accepted according to the White House. But Hamas, for its part, continues to demand the total withdrawal of Israeli troops from the besieged enclave and a